been a songwriter for many years and got into production over the last 2 or 3 years and added it to what I do. Well, I started off as an artist, which is probably what a lot of songwriters do, and I was signed to EMI, made an album over there, and then when I sort of got into looking into writing my second album, I went to America and went to Nashville and was writing songs out there, and I fell in love with songwriting. I suppose my most notable stuff is the Duffy stuff, and I did 3 singles with her. I did Mercy, I did Stepping Stone, and I did Rain on Your Parade. And before that, I had written songs for loads of people. I wrote for Stevie Nicks when I was out in Nashville. I wrote for Natalie Imbruglia. I wrote for Boyzone. I wrote for I don't know, anyone who'd listen. Since I did the Duffy stuff, I've worked with Alexandra Burke on the last album and Westlife for the last album. I decided to come back to England and concentrate here, and I got a studio and I decided to get into sort of like doing the tracks, producing, to sort of really to make more of a chance of getting these songs on records. You didn't have to go through that other stage, Well, Mercy came about by a complete chance. When I was living in LA, I had a little flat here that I rented. One day I got a phone call saying, "Oh, we're going to sell it," and I was really disappointed, and I had to find somewhere else. And then it turned out that Duffy was living a few doors down, and she wanted to buy it and came round to see it and ran into my then girlfriend and now my wife, and they got chatting, and Duffy was saying, "I've made this album, I'm a singer, my story was on, I'm a songwriter, I had something on the radio with Jack Savoretti at the time, and Duffy was excited. Oh my God, I still want to write some more songs, I think they were finished. That was the story I heard afterwards, that they were going to run with what they had. But I think I guess she really knew that she could do with a belter to go with everything else. So we met, had a coffee, she came up, played me a couple of tracks, and they were extraordinarily good. She came in just singing ideas, loads of ideas. She'd obviously had some time to herself to really come up with some stuff at home, just singing in the shower or whatever. And it was like, we wrote. We did something else first. The first day we were trying to come up with this up tempo, and then we came to what else have I let's go back over these ideas. And Mercy was one of these ideas, and it wrote itself in a very short time. It was definitely by the end of the first day. It was all done really. It's very much about capturing the moment, and that song really captured the moment. I worked purely in the box, and until a couple of years ago. So, and I wasn't coming out for anybody, and technology was coming my way, and there's new stuff all the time. But I was actually sort of looking for something, a controller really. I was just looking for a controller, a great controller. And so I thought, well, it'll just do that. That's all I'll use it for. It'd be fine. Of course, when we set it up, I realised we could, it could help me bring some other stuff into play. Of course, now I'm in love with the whole thing, but and I utilised the whole, all the sides of it. But definitely that was what I wanted. I just wanted the buttons and the flashy lights to start with. But I think probably within days, I moved into using everything it does. I got 16 channels to go with it of a SSL, so everything goes through it now. And that's my sort of finishing stage. It's my perfect little setup. I have this room was built purely to finish everything off in an analog way. It's just really strange, but it just seems to open up my thinking. And you know, I work in the box when I'm writing the songs in the writing room, and then the projects come down here, and I don't know, it just sort of makes it, you know, it just puts me in a different headspace. So I like that. I seem to look at the tracks as more of a record for some reason. You know, it gives me another stage. I work in the box. When I first come down, I work just in 2 channels until we've sorted it out. And then I love the point when we put it into groups. You know, I use the 16 channels, 8 groups, drums, synths, vocals, stuff like that. Sonically, it really brings everything to life. With the use of the channels and with the mastering as well, I just find the air that it brings to it all. I didn't realise I was missing that before. So that's a whole new world, and I'm loving that. And of course the punch I love as well. I've always been a bit of a fan of that sound, and that's really what I've been, you know, that's what I was always trying to get anyway. So now there's a whole extra punchiness coming in, which I love. It just sounds very radio, you know, which is perfect. It's changed the way I work in as much as it's added another stage. I really like the idea of bringing my project downstairs now into here, and just sort of looking at it again from scratch. You can't do that when you're in the middle of a writing session, or you've got 3 days doing something, and then it's like, and then you're trying to deliver it on the 3rd day. So I really like, I mean, as I said, it brings things to life anyway, which is fantastic, but also it makes me judge things as a record much more than just a song and a demo and all that kind of stuff. And of course it sounds like a record as well, so which is also a good thing, of course. You know, it's fantastic. Yeah, I'm loving it. You know, I'd rather do this now all year instead of write songs, but you know, it's just part of the it's part of the deal now.